All right, let's now take a look at social media for the week. This week really has been a busy week for the social media networks. The hashtag Trump Kim by far having the most traction following their historic meeting that was held on Tuesday. Yesterday, the start of the hashtag World Cup Russia 2018 also lit up social media sites. On the continent, Kenyan budget was trending, and so were two leaders from the DRC. You really want to watch this interview because there's a surprise at the end, which I didn't even know about. So I'm really looking forward to it. Matiba Sibanyoni, our senior multimedia producer here at the SABC, is telling us more. Good to see you.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, good. All right. So I'm glad we're making this a weekly feature because, you know, that is where conversations are held. Online, nowhere else. You want your news. Unfortunately, sometimes a lot of it fake. But that's why we like to follow SABC News online, don't we?
That's true. Especially with international news, you know. It's made, social media has made the world much smaller and has allowed people in Africa to communicate with people with the rest of the world and join in the conversations.
Excellent. I love it. Okay, so let's break it down and let's pretty much so start with the World Cup because I think that is what we're going to be speaking about for the next couple of weeks.
Yes.
It's going to be trending every single day. Everyone's watching it, but I think there was much excitement with the World Cup yesterday.
There was. So the build up over the last few weeks and yesterday was pretty great, and we saw the hashtag World Cup Russia trending.
Yeah.
And I think this morning the trend changed from World Cup Russia to World Cup, which kind of gives you an idea of how the world has now come together. And it's not just about Russia, it's the rest of the world joining in the conversation. Well, the opening ceremony was yesterday, and other things also trended, including Robbie Williams. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh boy, did I see that.
Yes.
What was that all about? And I'm still trying to I'm still trying to figure out why he would do something like that.
Exactly. So there've been so many reactions about it. Is it a political thing? Was the camera person annoying him, or was he sending a message to the rest of the world?
Yeah.
So yeah, he flicked the finger at the rest of the world, basically. And
he did. He did. Robbie Williams, he did it with no shame, pulled a funny face, flicked the finger, and then of course he apparently he changed one of the lyrics of his songs as well, and changed the line saying something, I'm doing this for free.
Yes.
Which somehow I don't believe that Robbie Williams was performing for free.
Especially at a World Cup event. The interesting thing bringing it back home with world trends like that is that a lot of South Africans went back to 2010, you know, thinking about, talking about what happened then, what were the greatest things. And most South Africans, sentiment-wise, still think the 2010 World Cup remains the best we've ever had.
Yeah. Well, you know, we can be biased about it because we were there, we felt it, we had Philip, he was here, Zakumi, everybody wondering where Zakumi is now, and you know, it was one of the best times of our lives. So I hope the Russians have that too, because it's a privilege to be able to be sitting in one of those stadiums and enjoy it. I mean, it costs so much money for the country to host it, you might as well enjoy it.
Yes, you might as well enjoy it. Also with this World Cup hashtag, which you would expect would be a very light-hearted, toned hashtag to go through, a lot of other news sipped into the conversations. This included the political atmosphere in Russia, people complaining about some of the injustices happening in that country. So with events like this, which are really, really just the beautiful game, a lot of other political and social issues also get a bit more attention as well. And it gives social media gives people the platform to talk about those things and discuss them. And hopefully after the World Cup, some of these issues are raised and something is done about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also saw Vladimir Putin, of course, he was speaking yesterday. That was also a big trending topic. So Russia under the spotlight, whether we like it or not. We know it's the World Cup, but the country is also under the spotlight. Right, so the other big trending topic, and I think this probably will steal the limelight because the World Cup was yesterday and it's going to trend from there on. But Trump Kim, that was massive this week.
It was massive on social media, and it was very interesting. You know that they met in Singapore, and most of the coverage that that we got, especially if you see pictures from countries from the East, you see that there was a lot of attention being paid to, in the way they cover the news, to symmetry. You know, they met in Singapore, which is, I don't know if you'd call it neutral place to meet, neutral ground.
Yeah.
Yes, and if you look online, you'll see that a lot of pictures that were taken as well of Kim Jong-un as well as Donald Trump were very symmetrical. You see them standing side by side as if they're equals, you know. We know that in the past month, there's been a lot of, if you're using Twitter language, twice, online Twitter wars.
Yes,
where,
absolutely.
Especially Donald Trump would be tweeting all kinds of things. He insults a lot of world leaders. That's not a secret on social media. And so there was a time when people were a bit afraid, as in all these wars on social media could lead up to a lot of problems for the world. So a lot of coverage, you could see that it was properly, very carefully covered on how they portray Donald Trump, how they portray Kim Jong-un. But also with this hashtag, you know that they are very vocal leaders, and they like to be seen, as you've seen. They like to look good as well.
Absolutely.
So a lot of jokes went on social media where people were talking about, his hair looks this way, or, you know, they want to look good on camera, they pose, you know. So those kind of
social media is all about. And especially when it comes to Donald Trump, he certainly does, he does know how to get the crowds going, and especially because that's his favorite way of communicating as well. So let's move to the continent, though, because it was also a big week for us here in Africa, and particularly when it comes to Kenya. Now, Kenyan budget for 2018. Talk to us about some of the comments here.
Yes, so you know that back home in South Africa, when the budget comes out, this topic always trends. And it's very interesting to see people in Kenya also taking part in the conversation. The big thing about it, so Kenya released their budget for the coming year. And it was 3.7 trillion shillings. And it's a huge budget. When we looked at the sentiment on social media, like what do people think about it? There's a map we usually use where you can kind of see the most words that are being used in certain regions of the country. And in Kenya, you see a lot of corruption. People associating that big amount with most of it might actually not serve the people it's supposed to serve. Some people were saying that part of that money should be reserved just for the corruption that goes on in this country. A lot of talk about the cost of living in the country, that yes, the budget has gone up this much, but it has to come from citizens. And food prices, people are worried that food might go up. Basic food might go up. I know that in South Africa not so long ago, we had that issue after our last budget, where people were concerned about, it's going to cost me so much more just to buy basic food. Yes, and so you find a lot of, in Africa, there aren't that many countries that are very vocal on social media. South Africa is one of the biggest, Kenya and Nigeria as well. And so when you look at the trends, you're also able to kind of dive into those countries and see what the conversations are. And Kenyans have been very vocal about political issues in their country. And so it's interesting to see how newspapers and online platforms cover that, but a lot of it wasn't positive. It was negative. Most of corruption mentioned, as well as the cost of living going up.
I think it seems to be a general complaint. But I know we're going to talk more about African issues after this with our Africa expert that's coming in to talk about the DRC President Joseph Kabila, as well as Vice President Jean-Pierre Bemba. Those are other issues that we're talking points on social media. But let us just very quickly wrap up this interview and talk about a big surprise that's coming viewers' way. Because there is an incredible man that is coming to visit South Africa in honor of another incredible man. And we are giving tickets away to that. I think that's hint enough, but you can break the news.
Yes, so SABC News is giving away 10 double tickets to the 16th Nelson Mandela Annual Lecture, which will be delivered by former US President Barack Obama. I mean, this is huge. We know how much Barack Obama has spoken about Nelson Mandela being his inspiration over the years. He was here during his funerals as well. So we're giving away those tickets. And in order to enter the competition, you need to send a WhatsApp video to the number that's on screen and tell us what you are doing to keep Mandela's legacy alive. And so the event is going to be in Johannesburg, and we're giving away those tickets. The closing date is on the 19th of June 2018, which is next week at 4 p.m. So if you send your WhatsApp message at 5 minutes past 4, unfortunately we won't take it. So make sure you do it soon.
That's amazing. Okay, so send a WhatsApp. Tell us how you're keeping Mandela's legacy alive. The number 081-732-8421. The closing date next week, the 19th of June at 4 o'clock. So you got to be fast on that one. And you could be a winner of, we've got 10 double tickets to give away. So, and this is going to be one of the most momentous occasions ever. Just being in the presence of Barack Obama, former US president, and hearing him speak is incredible. So that is great news. Thank you for being with us and talking to us. That lecture is on the 17th of July. Good to see you, Matiba Sibanyoni, who is our senior multimedia producer here at the SABC. We'll see you again next week.
Thank you so much.
All right, let's take a break. We'll see you after this.